Hello everyone, welcome back to this video series on Introduction to R Programming for Clinical SAS Programmers. In this series, we are exploring SAS programming feature alternatives in R Tidyverse package. In this video, we will see how to create some sample data in stream. That means we are creating some sample data within the program. So how do we do that in SAS? So we can make use of a combination of the in-file statement, input statement, and data line statement within a data step to create our sample data in a SAS program. So how do we do that? We specify the name of the data set here on the data statement. So here we are creating a data set named class. So here we are specifying that the data is expected within the program. So that's why we are specifying that data lines is used on the in-file statement. And then we are specifying that the data components are separated by the pipe symbol. If we see here in the data line, so we have different data components, so which are separated by the pipe symbol. And then we are describing the arrangement of the data values and the data lines, so by using input statement. So how does this get interpreted? So here the first component we are saying it as we are giving it a name of the variable name of name, and for the second component we are naming it as sex, and the third component we are naming it as age, and the fourth component as height, and the fifth component as weight. So here in SAS, in order to create a variable or read a information into a character variable, we need to specify that as using a dollar sign after the name of the variable. So here there are two pieces of information that we are reading into character variables. The first one is name and the second one is sex. So here we are not using any dollar sign for age, height and weight. So by default they will be getting read into a numeric columns or numeric variables. So here if we see there are five components. For the first row the value for name will be Alfred, and for sex it will be M, and for age it will be the 14, and for height the value would be taken as 69, and for height the value would be for weight the value would be taken as 112.5. Similarly, the other two rows will also get read, and we'll have three observations created and then five variables in the output data set. So how does this data set look like? So once we execute this program, the dataset looks something like this in our SAS window. So let us see how to replicate this kind of in-stream data creation in our R program. So how do we do that? So we have in Tidyverse package, we have a function called triple function. So to create sample data row by row. So the first line within the function, we need to specify the names of the variables. So note that we need to specify a tilde symbol before the name of each variable. So we are defining five variables similar to what we have defined here. So and then followed by that first line, we need to specify the lines of data that gets pulled into the variables which we have specified here. So how do we tell R that, or the tidyverse package or triple function, that some data has to be read into character variables while the other information has to be read into numeric variables. So here where if we have to read some information into a character variable, all that we need to do is to specify the value within quotes. So here for on all three rows of data we are specifying the value in quotes. So the name variable would be created as a character variable. Similarly for sex as well. And then for age, height and weight, so we are not using any quotes around it. So by default, the data gets read into numeric variables. So one additional thing to note in the syntax, if we are beginning with our programming or triple tidyverse package, so even after the last variable or the last data value, we need to specify a comma here. So once we execute this code, so we'll have the similar kind of data that gets replicated in our SAS RStudio environment. So the dataset generated when we execute this piece of code looks something like this in our RStudio. So we will now move to the demo of this example code. So I'll open SAS and RStudio side by side. So here I have copied the code which I have explained in the PowerPoint presentation, and then similarly I have copied the code into a code which is creating the sample data in R into the RStudio environment here on the right side. So I'll just select all of this and click the submit button here on the top. So I'll examine my log and then to see if there are any unwanted issues or error messages. So everything seems to be okay. So let us try to open the data set and see how it looks like. So here we have 3 observations and 5 variables, out of which 2 of them were read as character, name and sex, and other 3 are in numeric format. So let us try to do or execute the same thing in our RStudio environment. So I'm just selecting all of them and then clicking on the run button here. So as I mentioned in the introduction video, so we will be able to see the data sets that get created in the environment here. So let us try to open this data set and see. So see, if you take a note of this, so we have the same set of data replicated in our R environment as well. So this is how we can create some sample data either in SAS or in your R programming environment. Thank you for watching and keep learning.